The chef this evening is Chef Brian. The banquet captain is Amanda Lynn. And the servers that we have over here, and I guess that's the chef. Chef, thanks a lot. Our servers this evening are Ivo, Pam, Sandra, Brittany, Melena, Kelly, Tony, Emily, Kim, and Sharita. And they're the ones that are going to make it all happen, so we're going to go ahead and enjoy the chef's cooking, and then the program will follow after that. Thank you. And I'll just name this, and they're in your program also, so it's organizations that are probably very familiar to, but I need to mention it. Okay, I'm getting direction on, I've been with George, I've seen George before, so George is really he's my guy. People like you, we would like you to stand up so we know who you are, because we know that the effort that you put in to help support this is good. So if you stand up while I mention your names. Joe Cal, General Dynamics, Freedom Automotive, I know they're here. Terry's here. CB International. I know there's a representative from Regent University here. We used to work together, so I remember that. We go way back. He doesn't tell stories about me, and I don't tell them about him. Chesapeake Rotary Club, Valkyrie Enterprises, QED Systems Incorporated, American Auto Option, Vanguard Industries, and we have more people from the founders in all around us. And also City Councilman Bill Bissett also. I'd also like to thank a couple people who helped organize this. Megan, I know you're here. You've been all along. Megan, there she is, Megan, and also Bree. Bree just got back from a cruise. I don't know, she must have spent some time beside the sun, but I don't know if you know Bree or not, but her husband is a SEAL, and I don't know how many times he's been in Afghanistan, and that's where he is right now. So, Bree, we thank you for what you're doing and staying home and keeping the home fires burning. I have a little, not a story, but I think I need to. I saw George the other day. George and I really don't know each other that well. I've been to events. I was here when he went and started his tour, which if you talk to him, I'm sure it was really an inspiration, and it was something that we all look up to. But after you talk to George, you just come away with what he's doing, because you have to remember one thing about George. It's him. It's not that he's the organization. He is part of the organization because he has suffered and he's gone through things because of what's happened in his family. So a lot of people don't realize it, that George does all this, but the effect of this is also, it's something that George has to bear, and he lives with all the time. But I left George and I went home and I said, what can I do about this? That he's doing so much, and it just happened that I talked to a squadron mate of mine, and he said, it was a long time ago that we need to do something. And it just happens to be, it was in 1965, on December 21st, which is tomorrow, that an event happened to me that probably happened to you in maybe a different way. I was in an A6 squadron here at Oceana, and we deployed to Vietnam on the USS Kitty Hawk. And we left here in October for an 11-month cruise. And on December 21st, we took off. 8 of us left I was an A6 pilot. 8 of us left the ready room. And we went up and manned our aircraft. And our target that night was a very heavily defended area between Haiphong and Hanoi. It doesn't mean much to you, it's a bad place. We had been there the night before. But we went out there, and I'm not going to describe it, was like, it's something that you don't want to think about, and it's something in your life you know you do, and you don't remember dates, but this was one day that I'll never forget. Because of the 8 people that left that flight deck that night, only 6 of us came back. And that was the first of 8 airplanes that we lost in our 11-month cruise. And the 4 times that I very fortunate to go over there and come back, we lost a lot of other people. So a friend of mine said, you know, we did all this, how about those families? How about what George is doing, going out and the remembrance? So what we decided to do, we said, you know, we've got to call those families. So we started it. I don't know if it was Wednesday or Thursday, I saw George, and we've gone and are calling all the families of the people that were in our squadrons that we lost. A lot of them, the parents are not around anymore, but we're talking to the families. Very interesting family. There was a young fellow that I talked to years ago who really had some problems in his life, and he contacted me because he never knew his father. He was born after his father was shot down. His whole life was in turmoil. And the squadron got together and we helped him. But then I realized the losses of people are not just, you know, the fathers and the mothers, but here's the young child that never knew anyone. So I called him on Saturday evening. I had his number and I called him, and I talked to him periodically. But he said, you know, I want you to talk to someone. I want you to talk to my son. And here was the grandson of someone, and what they wanted to know about their grandfather. So those who are here, it's not only the families. So what we're doing in our calling, we're talking to them. Mothers if they're around, fathers, we're talking to the aunts and the uncles. And it's something that George has been doing. It's a remembrance thing. You know, that night that 8 of us left and only 6 of us come back, and it happened many a nights, and it happens today as we speak right now. There are families that are being affected. But it's something that this organization has done, and on this flag, the honor and remembrance. It's something that we all do. In this group, though, there's a lot of you who are affected directly. And I can imagine how really this time of the year, when you can think about your son growing up and the bicycle you got him and those things, it must be hard for you. Well, I want to assure every one of you, we don't forget. We remember like you remember. And what George is doing and what your organization is extremely important. We cannot forget you. We cannot forget the parents. We cannot forget, the children, and also the children that come along. They need to know about their fathers or grandfathers. So when I talk to Tom, I'm going to spend a little bit more time with him. I invite him to Virginia Beach, he and his family next summer, because his grandson needs to know what an ASIS looks like. He needs to know what his grandfather did. So as we leave here this evening, we all need to think that other people that we know in this group, that we need to remember as you do, because you need to know that we remember you. And the efforts that George's gone through, I'm sure he could tell us story after story of what he did this summer as he met families, as the flags were presented to people. I mean, it's something that, George, we don't want you to take all night to do that. But what he has done and what this community has done, we all need to do it. So George, and you and your organization, you have started something with us, and I've also started the rest of the day. We lost a lot of people. We're still losing people. We need to get involved. We need to remember. It's just not for your organization. You have lost someone. We need to call people. We need to remember. And we need to do what we can do for you. So George, it's your turn. But we appreciate everything you've done. And you got me started. And the problem is, if I start something, I don't give up. So I'm glad I saw you the other day, and we're going to keep it going.
God bless you. Thank you so much, Admiral. Thank you. As you can imagine, it's an emotional time for all of us this Christmas season. is always difficult. Some have had to endure and push through for many years. Many of the families here lost loved ones in Vietnam and since. And even up to recently, I spoke to a father this morning who had lost his son on Saturday. And so it does never end. December in particular, my son's birthday is December 12th. One of my dear friends lost his son on December 12th. He's with us today. My son was killed on December 29th. December 31st is my birthday. Tough month. But without the grace of God, it would be very difficult to stand here today. But what God gave me, what He took from me, was that grief. And what He gave me was a burden to reach those families that will never have their loved ones at their table again. You know, my son was a Christian. He knew right where he was going if he didn't come home. And I think as parents, I believe it was my job, our job, to get him to that eternity. And that's where he is. Not a care in the world right now. Not thinking about me, but I'm thinking about him every day, as each one of us are thinking about those that we lost. And as I looked around at this nation and how this country remembers, I really found a void. It was a terrible void for me because as I started to go to families, memorials, and meet more and more, so many of you that I know already and love, I realized that as a nation, we had a certain mindset. And that mindset was, we're going to remember our fallen on Memorial Day because that's the day created to remember. And if you don't have someone in the military, if you don't know someone in the military, if you haven't lost someone in the military, that's okay to remember one day a year. But there isn't one of us in this room that would stand up and say that they don't remember every day. And I thought, why is it that we can live under the freedoms that we have? The freedom to worship, the freedom to bear arms, to move about the country, the freedom to protest. We do that every day. We live under those freedoms every day. But we only get to remember our loved ones or the nation one day a year. I felt selfish about that because I didn't want my son to be forgotten. And as I've spoken to so many of you, I realized the same thing. Please don't let this be in vain. Please don't let them be forgotten. The two most important things. But I thought, what could I do? You know, as a Gold Star dad, as a parent, and many of us have received so many gifts, haven't we? Quilts, and paintings, and just on and on. So many wonderful things that have been given to us. And I looked to those things that I knew were on the wall or hanging on a sofa at home, treasured. I thought, who's going to see those things? Who is going to come into my home? We don't entertain that often. And see those beautiful tributes to my son. Not many people. I wanted to give a gift. I wanted to give the biggest gift I could think of. And that was public recognition that our sons, our daughters, our husbands and wives deserve. Public recognition for selflessly serving this country and giving us the freedoms that we enjoy every day. How do you do that? I didn't know. But what came to me as I attended the funerals, I saw the POW flag. Everywhere I went, and I'm sure you have seen it at every memorial, at every service, a POW flag flying proudly. And I thought to myself, the POW flag, what an honor it was for those individuals to be given a symbol to remember them. But as I saw that symbol over and over, I thought to myself, why don't the fallen have a symbol? Why isn't there something that publicly remembers those that gave their lives? A flag. That became the idea. And that is how the Honor and Remember flag began almost 3 years ago. And since that time, I have no words. Since that time, it has been amazingly accepted around this country in so many places, to the point where we now have a bill in Congress. It's been in Congress twice already. One more time, I hope, is a charm. But it took me on a mission to make sure that every single state in this country was aware of this symbol, what it meant, and the importance to every family that has lost so much. And the Admiral alluded to my journey very quickly. Many of you may have known, 50 states, 5 months, 28,000 miles. I began on Memorial Day, and I ended in Arlington Cemetery on Veterans Day. The flags that are on the table in front of you are flags that were planted in Arlington and picked back up. Those flags are for the families to take home. So I want to say that now. But I will tell you that in that journey over those 5 months, I met over 20 governors, hundreds of legislators, Medal of Honor winners, senators, congressmen, and former POWs. And I will tell you that every single state that I went to, I found someone who would legislate this flag in that state. And I believe that in 2011, this will become not only a national symbol, but a state symbol of remembrance in every single state in this country. Thank you. But my heart is for all of you. You know, because just a flag flying in the wind, we already know of our loss. We don't need to be reminded by one more thing that I lost my son or that you lost your loved one. So it became changing the nation's mindset. Because we all see the bumper stickers and we see the magnets, we have them that say support our troops. And God bless them. We need to pray for them and support them in any way we can. But I want to make sure that the entire message is not just to support the military out there, but it's to honor those that gave their lives and didn't make it home. To me, that is the complete message. That is the total group of those that served and have served for us. And I thank you that you have allowed us as an organization to bring families together, because it's a continuation, I believe, of just one more point of healing. I know there will never be closure, but we need to move one step closer in healing. Some of us are further than others. Some of us are right on the edge. But I will tell you that we will continue to honor and remember the families in this state and around this country for generations to come. This is a flag for all generations, regardless of our time in history. And I hope that this evening will just be a blessing to you tonight. That you will get to meet each other around the table. That you'll get to fellowship a little bit about your own experiences, your own family members. And those maybe who have come just to be a part of this will get to know some of those that have given so much for all of us. God bless you guys. We will do this again. God bless you. Thank you. I'm still my turn. We have begun to form chapters across the United States, honor and remember chapters, and their mission, like the national mission, is to establish this flag everywhere, to educate the public about the flag and the importance of it, and to make presentations to Gold Star families. We have 4 chapters so far in this country. But we do have 41 other inquiries from other states, so we are moving in that direction. But I have the Virginia chapter, since they're here with us in Chesapeake, wanted to make a presentation this evening, and I'm going to ask Brenda Ike, the chapter director, to come up for a couple of minutes.
Well, George, it's been an honor being a part of your organization this past year. Our chapter was formed a year ago December. I call us his warriors. While he's out there, he cannot be everywhere, so we need to have a chapter in every single state. Our goal is to privately solicit funds here locally with fundraisers, and our money that we raise goes for flags in the state of Virginia. So we are out there every single weekend. This is just a couple of the people that are with us on a daily basis. Well, aside from having enough money left in our chapter at the end of the year to do 6 months more worth of flags that we have planned, we have extra money that we raised for George, and we wanted to present it to him tonight. Our love offering from our chapter is $600 that goes to you from one of our local fundraisers. While you were gone, we also had some raffles, and we sold miles for your trip, and there's another $1,600 in here. So we have over $2,000 from the Virginia chapter. And it's been an honor, and he needs your support. Definitely needs your support. We have petitions outside if you haven't signed them, flag request forms, and thank you all for being here this evening.
This money's not for me, by the way. She mentioned my name, but it goes into the organization. It's not for me. It's for us. And Admiral, I think you're on.
I think so. Where's Megan? We're right behind her, so she's going to come get us. We'd like to have Nancy and Mark Stentz come forward, and they're going to go ahead and the reading of the Gold Star flag presentation and Gold Star banners. They have been extremely involved in the organization, and the work that they have done. We're honored to have them here this evening. There he is. The steps are over here. I'd like to let you. Yeah.
We gather here this day to honor the families, to remember the sacrifices of our sons, our daughters, our husbands, our wives, answered the call to serve our country in time of war. Some of us were fortunate to have known these men and women during their hyphen years, the years between their birth and their untimely death. All others will only know them. All others will only know of them. We will know through them. We will know of them through their survivors who hold them so dearly in their hearts. These young men and women's stories can only be told by their families. If you ask them to share their stories, their stories will be a joy to hear, and your heart will break because of their loss. Now, I know we've all seen the movie Saving Private Ryan. At the start of that movie is a scene where ladies are typing letters or telegrams to the families of fallen soldiers. A woman stops. It seems she notices something. It's the name and address of a soldier's family. It sparks her to look in other piles because she remembers seeing something. She locates the letters and proceeds to take them up her chain of command, eventually to the office of General George C. Marshall. After reading the letters, he decides to make arrangements for the surviving Ryan brother to be found and sent home should he still be alive. General Marshall reflects on the tragedy of the Sullivan family, who on November 13th, 1942, suffered the loss of their 5 sons on the USS Juno. At that time, he goes to his Bible and retrieves a copy of a letter, which he read, and I'd like to read that letter now. The letter was written to a Mrs. Bigsby in Boston. It says, "Dear Madam, I was shown the files from the War Department statement of the Adjutant General of Massachusetts that you are the mother of 5 sons who have died gloriously on the field of battle. I feel how weak and fruitless must be any words of mine which should attempt to beguile you from the grief of a loss so overwhelming. But I cannot refrain from tendering to you the consolation that may be found in the thanks of the Republic they died to save. I pray our Heavenly Father may assuage the anguish of your bereavement and may be only the cherished memory of the loved and lost, and the solemn pride that must be yours to have laid so costly a sacrifice upon the altar of freedom. Yours very sincerely and respectfully, Abraham Lincoln." The next scene is of Mrs. Ryan in the kitchen doing her chores as a military vehicle pulls up. A minister and an army officer exit, and she's on the porch and collapses in grief knowing that something has happened to one of her boys. That same something has happened to all the honored families here. The death of a spouse, a sibling, a parent, a son, or a daughter.
The service flag is an official banner authorized by the Department of Defense for display by families who have members serving in the armed forces during any period of war or hostilities that the United States may be engaged in for the duration of such hostilities. The history of the service flag is as patriotic and touching as the symbolism each star represents the families that display them. The service flag, also known as Blue Star banners or Sun and Service flags, was designed and patented by World War I Army Captain Robert L. Quisner of the 5th Ohio Infantry, who had 2 sons serving on the front line. The flag quickly became the unofficial symbol of a child in service. President Wilson became part of its history when in 1918 he approved a suggestion made by the Women's Committee of the Council of National Defenses that mothers who had lost a child serving in the war be authorized to wear a gold gilt star on the traditional black mourning armband. This led to the tradition of covering the blue star with a gold star on the service flag to indicate that the service member had died or been killed. The color of the stars is also symbolic in that the blue star represents hope and pride, and the gold star represents sacrifice to the cause of liberty and freedom. During World War II, the practice of displaying the service flag became much more widespread. In 1942, the Blue Star Mothers of America was founded as a veteran service organization and was part of a movement to provide care packages to military members serving overseas. It also provided assistance to families who encountered hardships as a result of their son or husband serving during the war. Virtually every home and organization displayed banners to indicate the number of members of the family or organization serving in the armed forces, and again covered those blue stars with the gold star to represent each member that died. In 1960, Congress chartered the Blue Star Mothers of America as a veteran service organization. In 1966, the Department of Defense revised the specifications for the design, manufacture, and display of the service flag that we have today. Whether a death is expected or comes unexpectedly, the digable part is not for the one who has left us, for that one has peace. The difficult part is for those left behind. We, with our fragile emotions, are never really ready for that which comes to each in a prescribed time. But thank God for those fragile emotions, for that is what makes mankind so wonderful. Eventually, we must all return to where we came, from where we came. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Nina, would you come up? We have 4 flags or banners to present tonight. This one's personal. This is our daughter-in-law.
This is what they look like. We can get these personalized, and that's going to be my mission for the coming years, to make sure that every family, if you don't have one, see me afterwards, and I will get you one. They're for parents and spouses. It's a token of honor that your son has served in our hearts. And just having it personalized makes it a little bit special. So we all know what's happening, what that soldier has done.
Maurice and Sandra Quigley. Randy and Wendy Childers. and Terry Dunn.
As Mark mentioned, the only thing I'm going to apologize for tonight is that we had a very short window to make this dinner happen tonight. Very short window. As a matter of fact, it was after my trip from Arlington that I sat down with Megan and Bree with Scott's blessing. And we said, let's try, well, in Mark's instigation, Mark Stetz, let's try and put a dinner together for the holidays for as many families as we can, as quickly as we can. And we all looked at each other and kind of pulled our hair out and thought, how logistically can we make this happen? Well, I can tell you that we didn't get it right in every case. And maybe there's a few hiccups here, but I know there are 47 Gold Star families here. And to me, that is an amazing representation of this area and this state. And there may be a little bit of wrinkles here and there. Mark tried to reach as many families as he could, I know, with these flags. And so we will make sure that every family is honored in this way. If you don't have one, please see Mark afterwards, because he has made that his mission. But the Honor and Remember flag, I hope that you all know by now what the Honor and Remember flag stands for and what it's about. Very quickly, the symbolism behind this flag, again, is for public understanding. The red field stands for the sacrifice of blood shed for this country. The white field below, the purity of that sacrifice. Because every one of our sons and daughters and our husbands and our wives went over on a pure mission. Each one of them saying to us, don't worry, I've got it covered. I'll be back. That blue star in the center was already mentioned, goes back to World War I, when that blue star banner was hung on the windows and doors of families who had someone in the fight. The gold star overlaying that blue star, we all understand and recognize. There are so many in this country, so many, that have no idea what a gold star means. Even in the military. Believe me, as I span this country, I met with many, many military on many bases, met with many generals of every rank. There are so many that do not know, but they will. The folded flag, we all understand. The eternal flames that emanate from that flag, we will never forget. And the words, we will always honor that sacrifice and remember them specifically by name. And it is our goal as an organization, not just to fly the flag, not just to get the flag flying, but to do things like this, to make a difference in touching lives. And this flag was designed in a way that can be personalized. And I have had the privilege of meeting so many of you at a presentation of presenting a personalized honor and remember flag. And it is our goal that every single family in the history of our country would be honored and tribute this same way. And tonight, like I try to do in every opportunity, is to honor one more family, one more family. And this evening it is my privilege to ask Randy and Wendy Childers to come forth. While I was on my trip, halfway across the country, August 20th, I was in Alaska. I found out that my neighbors had lost their young Marine son. I was 5,000 miles away. I would have been there in a heartbeat. And you know, within a week, Wendy had ordered her own flag. Of course, I canceled that. And I called her and I said, Wendy, that's not happening. When I get back, we will honor your son together. And I chose tonight to do that. And I thank you that I have that opportunity to share that moment with you, as I have shared it with some of you, and will share, I hope, with more of you, and through Brenda and the Virginia chapter as well. But Wendy and Randy, would you come forward, please? I didn't get a chance to say this earlier, but over the course of those 5 months, I was privileged to present over 100 flags across this country to families, Admiral, state senator in Oklahoma, lost his father in World War II. He never had met his dad. And he was a part of a ceremony to help me to present flags to other families. And during that ceremony, he continuously talked about his dad, who he'd never met. My dad was here. My dad did this. I heard about this. And at the end of that ceremony, he didn't know it, but I had a flag for him with his dad's name on it. You can imagine that moment for him. How important that was for a man he'd never met, but cherished and loved his entire life. Because how many years later? 70 years later, he remembered him by name. This Honor and Remember flag is folded in a triangular configuration. It's folded that way to mirror the American flag that is handed to a family, the memorial to their loss. But unlike the American flag that was meant to be folded forever, reverently and respectfully forever, the Honor and Remember flag is meant to be unfolded, to be displayed proudly, because it's not a memorial. It is a thank you. It is a celebration from, I believe, a grateful nation. This Honor and Remember flag is presented with eternal gratitude and respect in honor of Lance Corporal Cody S. Childers. With this flag, we honor this patriot's unwavering dedication and remember his selfless sacrifice. By displaying this flag collectively as a nation, we humbly recognize the enormity of your loss and respectfully say thank you. If you have not received a personalized flag, please let us know before you leave. I know many have, and I know many have not. And I think there are some forms at the table, please. I wanted to do something a little different because if you have to leave, I understand. But not everybody knows each other. Not everybody has had a chance to cross the room here and to say hello. And I don't know that you will, necessarily. And so, rather than read everyone's name who's here and your family member, I'm going to ask you to stand up, one at a time. And give us your name, the name of your son, your daughter, your loved one, so that we get to meet you across the way. And you don't have to say anything, but if you'd like to take a minute and say something, feel free to do that. You have a limited amount of time. I would like for everyone to get to know everyone before they leave. And I don't want you to be uncomfortable, chill. We're all in the same family. So just please, I'm going to pass the microphone around, and we'll just go around the room quickly. And please stand up when you speak. I'm going to start over here with Ron and Rose.
I'm Ron Trapinski. This is Mayor.
I'm his wife. Our son's name was Andrew L. Twassen, and he died May 10th, 2004.
We love him very much, and we love your sons and daughters, and the ones that you've lost as well. So we love all those that are losing their lives for Christ as well. We think about them every day and pray for them. We also pray for your families as well. This is a great loss to all of us. We feel your loss. And George feels your loss. And it's come to us. And his coming and the love that he's shown us has helped us a great deal.
I am William Jefferson. My son's name was William H. Jefferson Jr. And this is my wife.
Linda Jefferson. He was killed in Afghanistan March 22nd, 2010.
And I pray for all your families out here because something is passed in this earth. Thank you.
My name is Christy Jefferson. This is my daughter Tyler. We have another little one at home, Natalie, but I'm William Jefferson's wife.
George Rush has been very, very good to us, and all I can say is we all know the deal, and that's why we're all here together.
I'm all the way from Roanoke, and I'm just proud to have them here, be able to call them my friend.
I'm Paul Dumont. My son is Paul Jr. My wife Ronnie, my daughters Jessica and Stephanie. My son-in-law is Chris and Philip are here. I've got 3 boys at home and 1 daughter, and married to a Navy guy in Italy. It's been 16 months yesterday, and every day is a new day. And I know what you're all going through. I live it every day. And it's an elite organization I wish I was never a member of, but I'm thankful to share it with all of you.
My name is Carmelita Cowboy. This is my husband, Dennis, my daughter-in-law, Tammy, my grandson, Aiden. Our hero's name is Christopher Cowboy. He died July 5 of 2010. Chris died the day after my birthday. And though it's still new, they say time can heal all wounds, but with this, I don't think it holds true. And my brother is now in the Army because of my husband, Chris, and so I ask that you all also pray for him and his troops, and that I don't have to go through it again.
My name is Robert Fitzgerald, my wife Lula. Our son is Omar Fitzgerald, USMC. He left us because he wanted to do his way. There's one thing, though, that always stays with me, is I'm an old drill sergeant. And he heard me say one day, never leave the troops. He was just required to return from Iraq because he was injured. He refused to go. 2 nights later, on a night patrol, he was killed. But he still lives because all of his vital parts, his heart, his eyes, his lungs, saved young men and women from the age of 8 to 8. So in our house, he hasn't left us, he just hasn't returned to this country. So he still lives well in Abraham.
Good evening. My name is Nancy Jo Tishon, and due to my husband's death, I've become the president of the Untitled Chapter of Gold Star Wives in this area. My husband's name was G. Scott Tishler. He died January 15, 2006. And the way that I get through it is 1, through God, and 2, give of yourself to others that need you.
My name is Mary, and my husband's name was Armand Cruz, and he passed 2 years ago. It was not combat, it was service-connected illness. And I miss him terribly.
My name is Mary Reed, my sister-in-law Jenny Mann. I lost my son, Sergeant Jeffrey Reed, in Iraq on March 2nd, 2009.
I'm Joanne Steen. I'm the widow of a naval aviator who was killed in line of duty several years ago. I'm also an author and a speaker on how to survive and how to respond to military loss. I just want to say a few words to all of the families here because, first of all, I have walked in their shoes, and I can tell you with certainty that while the path is not easy, you can survive, cope, adjust to the new normal, and learn to live again. And I think to do anything less would be another tragedy. Because I firmly believe that the loved ones of everyone in this room, okay, would ask you to go out and to live your lives to the fullest. And say it was easy, but I believe that's what they want. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tina Halchins, my husband Donald.
We lost our son May 17th, 2007. And his name is Aaron Gutierrez.
Arthur Hickey. I lost my son January about 1966. It was our anniversary. And his still with us today.
We miss him every day. We think about him every day. I volunteered twice so my other children would not go. Thank you.
My name is Kristen Harmon. My husband was Corporal Joshua Harmon. I lost him August 22nd, 2007 in a helicopter crash along with 13 others that fell along with him. He was a great man, did a lot of wonderful things before he passed, and I'm just thankful for the short time I had.
Kristen.
My name is Donna Lewis. My husband is Jason Lewis, and he died July 7th, 2007.
My name is Christina Valentine. My husband was Senior Chief Thomas Valentine. He was killed February 13th, 2008. And if he was here today, he would tell you that it wasn't a sacrifice to die for his country. It was a privilege and an honor. And that's how I'd like to remember that it's not a sacrifice, it's a privilege to lay your life down for this great nation. And it's an honor to live in this nation and die for this country. And I will always be grateful to those that have been there for my family and for all the organizations that have stood up and stand ready to support all of us, like George's Honor Member, Gold Stars. I remember being a Blue Star wife, and now I'm a Gold Star wife. And in both circumstances, I'm proud and honored to be one.
Hello, my name is April Brown, and I lost my husband about 2.5 months ago. August the 28th. It was the day he went in 1990 and died. The day, 20 years he did in the service. So this is really, really hard. But I go on this saying, the word is, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. I just want my husband to know that I love him and miss him so much. I love him and miss him so much.
Hi, my name's Steve Johnson. My brother, First Lieutenant Michael Johnson, died in Afghanistan September 9th, 2009, in combat. But yeah, just touching on what she was saying is he lived his life as but he actually had the tattoo of the Marine Corps emblem on his back right shoulder, and underneath it, it said Carpe Diem, which means seize the day. And that's how he lived his life, and that's how I know he'd want all of us to be living our life, seize, every minute of every day. And that's all I'd say. Thank you.
I want to thank the PGR for being here. I don't know if it was mentioned, but God bless you guys for standing with all of our loved ones. Let's give the PGR a hand.
Kate. And I'm here with my husband Rod and my daughter Jennifer, her husband Jamie, and also John's dad and stepmother, which we'll talk about. And first I want to tell you, George, thank you for everything that you do, and for the sponsors and all the people for tonight. This has been wonderful because it's such a hard season for all of us. And just want to tell you that the Saturday before my son was killed, January the 9th, 2008, he was killed on a Wednesday. I talked to him that Saturday and I said, I don't know why, but I said, if something happens to you, they're going to have to bury you too. And he said, Mom, please don't talk like that. He said, I'm where I want to be. And so I have to keep remembering that. And I think all our sons were where they wanted to be. And I just want to say God bless all of you and Friday for your Christmas.
I'm Carl Leisure, son of Staff Sergeant John Leisure. Was killed the 9th of January 2008. And it's not an easy thing for any of us. I talked to him